So the very interesting question, what happens when you have one frame and the girl has a different frame, okay? And what it really comes down to is belief. It really comes down to belief. There's a good movie about sales, older movie, it's called Boiler Room. Has anybody ever seen that movie? Yeah? It's a good one to check out. Like, sales movies are good for learning game. So yeah, it's a good one to check out. It's actually just an inherently pretty decent movie overall. But there's a idea on that basically these guys are, they're selling stock over the phone, and they're selling like shitty stocks that are all going to crash and screwing people over and scamming people and whatever, right? But they're good salesmen, and the sales techniques taught in that movie are very good sales techniques. And there's a thing where the mentor is teaching the younger salesman. He says, there's no such thing as a no-sale call. A sale is made on every call, right? Either you sell them stock or they sell you on a reason why they can't buy any. The question is, who's the better salesman, you or them, right? That's the idea. Whose frame is stronger? Who believes their frame more? So here's my question for you. If I drop this, what's going to happen? It's going to fall, hit the ground, right? You guys sure? What if I told you this is a special wallet and it's not going to drop? What if I told you this particular wallet is going to levitate? Anybody believe me? No? You all still think it's going to fall? Are you sure? What if I'm really, really certain it's not going to fall? Do you still think it's going to fall? Yes. It is my wallet. You've never even touched this wallet. I've touched this wallet. I know magic. It's still falling? It's still falling? Let's see if you guys... Fuck, you guys were right. All right, cool. But why did you believe that it was going to fall? Why were you so sure? Experience, right? Because it's your reality, right? You know reality. Okay? So when you walk up to a girl and the girl is questioning whether you're a worthy, worthwhile man, how do you hold your frame? Experience. You know all the reasons you are a worthy, worthwhile man. And you know, hopefully with experience, this will come if you don't have it already, you know all the women with whom you've had great relationships in the past. And you know all the women who, even if the cold approach didn't work and it didn't go anywhere, you made their day better, right? And you know with your girlfriends over 6 months, 9 months, how much you've improved their lives and how much better off they were for having dated you. And you hopefully know that, this is a personal one for me, that about 6 months into every single relationship, no matter how hot and high value the girl, she looks at you and goes, why are you even with me? You're so much cooler than me, right? If you know all those things, you're going to believe that you are that high value person. If you're constantly telling yourself the wallet is going to levitate, well, now you're not going to believe it's going to drop, right? So you need to be secure in your frame. You need to be sure in your frame. That's the first thing. Whose frame is stronger? In the hypothetical situation, he walks up, the girl say, oh, we're good or whatever, right? And what was his immediate reaction? Best response, I find it funny. I find it genuinely, legitimately funny. Which is not a, this is the good line to say reaction. This is a genuine self-belief reaction. This is, I find it amusing that the girls are missing this opportunity over something so trivial. Or I find it amusing that this is happening in this case because I have an abundance of women and I don't care so much how this one interaction goes, right? So the immediate reaction of finding it amusing and laughing is actually probably as important or more important than any specific game technique that's going to come out of that, right? So how do you hold your frame in the face of a hot girl's frame? You have an equally strong or stronger frame than hers. And here's the thing about most hot girl frames. Hot girls are very much like the guys we call naturals or whatever. Most human beings who have a strong frame, they have a situationally strong frame, right? In certain contexts, their frame is very strong. In other contexts, it becomes weak. And or their frame is strong until it cracks and then it completely falls apart. Because what most people have, they don't have core confidence. They don't have confidence in themselves overall in every aspect of life. They have situational confidence. So a hot girl who is used to getting things based on her appearance is very secure that she's hot. She is. She knows it because she knows that's how she makes her living. But if you take her to a modeling audition where there's wall-to-wall girls who look identical to her, her frame that she's hot will crack in a lot of cases. Right? Because in that context, she is no longer relevantly hot and she just sees how utterly replaceable she is. So in that context, her frame may crack. Or if you put that girl into some kind of like a business meeting or something like that where she knows that she doesn't know what she's talking about and she knows that the currency is not hotness, the currency is money and competence, her frame will crack and she'll become nervous and whatever, okay? So she's confident in one very specific scenario, but if you play a different game, if you don't play the game that she's good at, her frame doesn't exist in that game, in that frame. So an example I've given, and this one is, this is kind of older athletes at this point because I'm an old ass man, but who's the better athlete? LeBron James or Michael Phelps?
Michael Phelps.
LeBron, Michael.
How many gold medals
It's
LeBron?
who made more money? So apples and oranges, right? It's an apples and oranges comparison. What you want to know is what sport are they playing? What sport are they going to compete at? Huh?
What metrics matter?
Exactly. Which game are you playing? If you're playing one game, it's clearly one person. If you're playing the other game, it's clearly the other person. So when you're talking to a girl, in the interaction, what game are you playing? Because you get to decide in the interaction to some extent, at least 50% you're deciding what is considered valuable in this interaction, right? So if what's valuable in the interaction is beauty and popularity, are you going to do well playing that game with hot women? Probably not, right? If the game is who can walk through the line at a nightclub better, you or her, who's winning that one? Unless you're very rich or know the owner, right? She's winning that game. You're losing that game, right? So don't play that game. Don't play that game. If anything, one absolutely amazing line in game, but again, lines are frames. The old school line is, you're beautiful or you're attractive, but what have you got going for yourself besides your appearance that make me want to get to know you better, right? That's the line back in old school game to start qualification, right? And it's actually a little too heavy-handed. You don't want to do that as a start of qualification. There are issues with it. But the frame around that line is really, really good. Yes, you're attractive. We can acknowledge that. I'm not going to fight you on that frame because that's a frame that, A, you probably believe and have believed your whole life if you're a truly hot girl. B, I am talking to you. I did approach you, right? I'm not going to I approached you because you were ugly. It doesn't even fucking make sense, right? Okay, so you're attractive. Great. Good job. That got you the interview. Now, what do you have going for me? Because the currency in this interaction, the thing that is of value, is your personality, the experience we can have together, you being sane, you being potentially in the future a good mother for children, things like that, which are not encompassed under your hotness, right? If that's what you make important in the interaction, now you can be higher value. And if you are smart and successful and whatever other things you are, you make that important in the interaction, right? Right? You make being ambitious important if you're very ambitious. You make being fit and healthy important if you're very fit and healthy. You get to decide, one second, I'll take it in a second. You get to decide within the interaction what you think is important by the way that you're talking about things, the topics you bring up, the way you address things, what you approve and disapprove of. Is this super on topic? Okay, cool. So you get to decide within the interaction what is of value, right? And I would actually recommend this. I probably said this if you guys have been, actually just out of curiosity, how many people have been at one of these events before? Just show of hands. Okay, so not the majority of the room. That's good. We're getting turnover. But that's both good and bad, but yeah. Okay, so you guys may not have heard this from me before. One thing I recommend you guys absolutely do, don't do it right this second, but do it after today, like do it when you go home. Make a list of 5 non-physical traits you want in a girl. 5 things besides her appearance that would make her more attractive to you. And then when you go up to a girl, instead of thinking, oh God, I hope she likes me, how do I make her like me? Instead, go up and say, I hope she's these things so that I can like her, right? That change in frame is absolutely huge in terms of your mentality. It's also going to be good because it's going to lead the conversation to areas where you have value, and it's also going to make it a conversation you care about, where you're actively screening and finding the girl that's right for you. So yeah, what are 5 things besides her appearance that would make her more attractive to you? And then go find that out. And treat it kind of like a job interview, right? Imagine you have the most prized job in the world. Because honestly, the job of being her girlfriend should be the best job in the world, right? That should be the thing that every girl would love to have. So you have this prized job, right? And you have a potentially qualified candidate for it. You've asked her in for an interview. She's hot enough to get the interview. Hot enough and interesting enough, whatever, to get the interview. But now You're not going to make it an easy interview for that prime job. You want to hire the absolute best candidate. She now gets screened. She now goes through that process.